South Africa, and welcome to Afternoon Express. Now, since we are in the kitchen, we are here with some of our favorites, some of our guests and resident chefs. I would like to welcome back Chef Dion.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me once again.
And Chef Dumi, it's always lovely to see you, girl.
It's always good to be in the kitchen with you and
Now, we are in the business of spicing up your life this winter on today's Afternoon Express Masterclass with me, Palisa Dembe. We're joined by Chef Dion as he's going to be showing us how to create a classic cake Malay curry, a scrumptious cake with green curry paste, crispy chips with red masala dipping sauce, and a beef curry. But Chef, before we get into all that's on the menu, you have got an incredible spread in front of us, and it's all about understanding the different curries. So can you just take us through what a curry is?
Okay, so basically a curry is, it's such a sort of vague term. It was sort of created many years ago, where it originated from the name curry with K-A-R-I. It's a Tamil word that means sort of sauce or soups that was usually eaten with rice. So the word curry sort of became this like jargon term for a general sort of staple Indian spicy sort of curry or sauce curry.
Now, a lot of people do me, I don't know if you also get the same questions coming up time and time again, the difference between a boiki, a stew, a curry, and a masala. I mean, South Africans have so many different terms for our different foods, the things that we love to enjoy. So can you please just briefly kind of break down, but more specifically, is stew, boiki, and curry?
The thing is, we're South African and we're so diverse. There's 11 different languages in our country. So to sort of like segregate it would bastardize the individual cultures. So they're all in its own space a curry in a sense because of the different areas and how it got influenced through the slave trade.
Okay.
And when we all came over here, that's how the different names are. But basically a stew and a curry, like your stews are more sort of milder and lighter toned and lighter in color as well. And your curries always will consist of your trinity, your garlic, ginger, chili, and your masalas are basically like your paste or combination of sort of spices, dry or fresh, that's sort of pounded together to create this amalgamated sort of paste or spice that you add to your base when cooking your curries.
Love that. I mean, Dumi, does it sound like Chef is right on the money?
Definitely, Palisa, and I think he put the hammer on the nail right when he said exactly the fact that it's in essence the same thing. It's how we take it and make it our own.
Absolutely.
We've taken a boiki, which is in essence some sort of a curry in a sense, just how we cook it, how we make it, the spices and flavors we put into that, similar to a curry, similar to a stew. It's all about the ingredients that you put into there and how you play with it and make it your own.
So today we are specifically focusing on regional curries. You know, again, Chef said that doesn't matter where you come from in South Africa, we all enjoy different tastes, different flavors, from Western curry, or rather I should say from the Western Cape to KwaZulu-Natal, all the way to the northern sides of South Africa. Can you talk us through those different flavors and of course the spices that are involved in creating those dishes?
Okay, so if you think about the spices or flavors from Durban, KwaZulu-Natal, it's all of the Indians that came to the slave trade for cane. Okay. So they were sort of like they were minimized in terms of what they could use because we only had like rice, there was dal, there was salted fish and ghee or oil, if I'm not mistaken, that they were given to use. So they would sort of like smuggle in seeds from home and grow their own stuff. But due to that constraint, that's how the curry sort of developed in their own way. But in Durban, they're much more spicier, more robust because of their direct Indian connection. In the Cape side, it's more Indonesian and sort of Malaysian influence, so it's more sweeter and toned down. And if you look at Mpumalanga, the north side, it's kind of like a stewish one because it was South Africa's own interpretation because they were very far away from the influence of the Indians at that time.
Yeah, I get that. So I hope that you are tracking with us throughout. We've already broken down the different flavors that one can enjoy when you are visiting the different provinces. KwaZulu-Natal, fiery, full-bodied, delicious, like me. And we also have something from the Western colonies. And here in the Western Cape, it's a lot more sweeter. Definitely Indonesian flavors coming out and Malaysian flavors coming out there. And then in Mpumalanga, they said, hey, look, we're quite fast, so let's try a little bit of everything. And I also love the fact there that they incorporate a lot of apricot jams in the stews up there. So we also do have a spread of spices. Chef Dumi, do you want to kind of break down what we can enjoy in curries?
There's various types of spices that can be added to curries. It's also into your own interpretation once you sort of develop a palate and understanding for how to balance the flavors.
Okay.
There's coriander seeds, which is completely different from the fresh coriander. It's got more of an earthier taste. They cannot be substituted one for the other because the taste profiles are completely different. More earthier, more fresher for the fresh one. Okay. Over there we have cumin seeds, which have the sort of earthy down tone, which is mainly used in a lot of bases of curry powders or masalas, whichever word you might use, but a combination of spices that we spoke about. If you look at your black cardamom, also very different compared to your green cardamom. Your green cardamom is more floral and fragrant. Your black cardamom, because it's dried and toasted on open flames to sort of dry it out, so it has a light smoky flavor to it. So it adds a bit of a depth to smoky flavor to your curries, and mainly used with like meats as well, meat curries.
Okay.
There's your fennel seeds over there, which are used mainly for pickling as well. It's added to some lamb curries, but more for that pickling sort of agent in there.
Okay.
There's your fenugreek and your caraway seeds as well.
Those are less familiar, I find, but I'm looking forward to playing in the kitchen, Dumi. It's all about making sure that the flavors in our curries are completely coming together in the right way. It's not just about taking any spice and chucking it in the pot.
Oh.
No, we need to make sure that we're adding it appropriately.
Correct, Balisa. It's always about making sure that the flavors work together. It's not just about, like you said, just throwing it all and hoping for the best. Yes, you can be experimental, but it also is about balancing the flavors and making sure that they pair well together.
Well, let's make sure that everyone does not move a muscle, because we are going to be creating absolute curry majesty in the Afternoon Express loft.
So, we've had classic fashion from Timby, classic cars, thanks Chad, and we've seen classic hairstyles. And you, Michael? Classic.
A classic range from Clover. Timeless taste. Made with love by Clover.
Chef Dion, it is an Afternoon Express masterclass, and today it's all about the curries. So I believe we should start where we are right now, and that is in the Cape.
Absolutely. Some chicken Cape Malay curry.
Looking forward to it. Now, it is Curry Week here on Afternoon Express, and with so many versatile and endless types of curry that one can cook, we're cooking up our favorites today, as we featured in different provinces. In the Western Province, the Cape Malay curry is quite a popular one, and if you can't handle the heat, simply add Clover Classic Dairy Snack for much-needed cooling and the creamy taste.
Definitely, Balisa. That's what we're going to be doing here now. And what I'm on potato duty, because one thing I've noticed, whenever you make a curry, potatoes are definitely necessary. And correct me if I'm wrong, Chef, but the reason why potatoes are constantly added into curries or dishes of this sort is, one, they're great carriers of flavor because they absorb whatever it is that you put into your dish. And two, they make your dish go a long way. You stay fuller for much longer. Exactly. Like, your dish can be so much more filling if you add an extra potato into it. So that's what I'll be doing here. I'll just be cutting up our potatoes that will then go into this beautiful stew that you're getting ready for our chef. And what do we need for the curry?
Okay, so we've got a bit of oil here, which is very important because that sort of like carries your spices and that flavors through your curry, or your building of that sort of base. We got some cinnamon over here. There's green cardamom. There's some ground coriander, ground cumin. We've got a little bit of turmeric over here. Some ground black cardamom. We've got a bit of ground salt and black pepper over here, and then our red curry paste over here, bit of green chili and onion, and we've got apricots for that sweetness that makes it a Malay, bit of tomato puree, and our chicken pieces.
Love that.
So I've just put the oil in the pot here, and I want to add the whole spices in the beginning, just to start toasting it before we add the onions inside.
And on my side, I'm just preparing the garnishes because, as we know, if you do love a good curry, a little sprinkle of green on top never hurt anyone. And also, just the aromatics of it all just makes it all come together so beautifully. So I'll just be chopping that up for you. But Chef Dion, you spoke here about so many different flavors and that we can experience, and spices that we can put in. Turmeric is something that I think so many households need, whether you have ground turmeric like that, or how about I show you this? I mean, how beautiful is that?
I mean, we've been blessed because the past 6 years I've noticed a lot of fresh turmeric in South Africa, and it was very difficult to get back in the day. So you get the fresh one. If you cut it, you can actually see how bright it is.
Wow.
And an interesting tip is, or interesting fact is, they actually used to use turmeric to dye the monks' sort of, yeah,
Their robes.
Their robes, yes, way back in the day.
Okay, so if
Crazy,
you do not have any tie-dye at home, this is a new way to get down this winter. I love that tip and trick, but that is just the thing about turmeric, Dumi. It gets everywhere.
Yes.
So so you were giving me a tip of how to get it off my fingers.
Yeah, remember, Balisa, we had a lady some other time ago, Nicole, who said to us we must use bicarb, remember?
Yep.
We can put it into our hands and it actually helps remove that. But touching on what you said, Chef, about the monks being able to dye their clothing, I know that another trick is we've become so wholesome nowadays that we're using our food not just to ingest it, we're using it on our faces, we're using it on our bodies. You can even use it as an organic way to dye your hair. So if you want to color your hair, you can definitely do that as well. So it's not just about what you can do in the kitchen, it's how you can use that ingredient throughout your entire house.
And as we are speaking about the different forms that you can find turmeric in, that is fresh turmeric, but this here is dried out turmeric. So there are different ways also of incorporating it into your curries. But right now you're just chucking it all in there.
So what I've done is I've started with whole spices and then added the onions to slowly sweat down.
Okay.
You don't want it to be on a very high heat. It must be a medium to low, so it kind of like gently brings out the sweetness of the onions. Then once that's toasted, you add your dry spices in, all of your ground ones. And then we get all of this on the go, and then our red curry paste will be added, then our chicken. So you sort of coat the chicken inside of all of the spices that have toasted nicely. If you do the other way around, you tend to get this grainy taste or end result in your curries because you haven't sort of given enough attention to the actual frying off of the dry ones.
Like that. And Dumi, here, Chef was talking about that red paste, like that red peppery chili masala paste. Now, a lot of people do not have a strong palate, I suppose.
Yeah.
They can't handle the heat in the kitchen. And that is where our Clover Classic Dairy Snack comes in. I mean, I just can't imagine you putting a nice, beautiful dollop in it, and it just creates that creamy smoothiness that pairs perfectly with almost any dish, especially with our spices within the Cape Malay curry.
Correct, Balisa, because what it'll do is once you've put in all your spices and you find that it might be a little bit too spicy for you, you add it into the actual curry inside, it mellows it out.
It does,
and if you add it on the top as well, once you've made your curry and you've cooked and you're about to dish it up, you eat it, because I know most people, you can use it in their raita, you even add it there as part of your raita.
Such a traditional condiment. Curd, everyone in India eats.
Yeah.
I mean, everywhere. If you're having curry, the best thing to do,
It's having a dairy
the
snack.
heat down is your yogurt.
I love that. Clover Classic Dairy Snack is what it's all about, but we are focusing on our different curries, the different flavors, and I do know that everyone has different ways and methods of making a Cape Malay curry, but essentially just the basics and the aromatics is what it's all about. Chef, you did mention also that you can add apricots into the mix, and that apricot gives it that sourness, but also the sweetness.
Yeah, raisins, cranberries, a lot of dry fruit can work absolutely well in your curries.
Now, Chef, another thing is that a lot of people say, but what if you do not have these ingredients? How am I able to play but still get those same flavors coming through? I know sometimes I'm not afraid to just put a whole bunch of brown sugar in it.
I was just going to say, there's brown sugar in the recipe anyway, so you can just increase the amount of sugar. Right?
True, and you can also add chutney as well, Balisa, or something like this. Is if you're going to be using dried fruits or dried anything in your dish, and one thing is it could dry out because they're already dried, so it sucks in all the moisture. So a tip I can give you is soak your dried fruits beforehand in some warm water, because then that rehydrates them so that by the time you add them into your dish, the dish doesn't dry out, but the flavor is still there.
Beautiful.
True.
Now, Chef Dion, at what stage do we start popping everything in? I know essentially that chicken is going to cook its way through all the way, because we do know we do not play when it comes to chicken. We have to make sure that it is fully cooked all the way. But I do want to see you putting in the rest of these ingredients.
So what we've done, we've left the skin on, so I just want to get a bit of the fat away from the skin. You obviously keep the skin off if you like that way of making it, less fat, or you can leave the chicken on. So once it's a little bit crisp up, I'm going to add the tomato puree, because the spices have cooked out nicely. You get it from the aroma, and you see when the oil sort of comes or surfaces above of the spices, then you know you're ready.
Okay, and when can I go in with our beautifully creamy Clover Classic Dairy Snack?
That will be closer to the end. You don't want to add it in the beginning of the cooking process, or else it's going to sort of split.
Okay.
Because if it reaches a certain temperature, like over 60 degrees or so, it could make your curry sort of split in the sense of it coming together with its sauce.
Now, I've got some of this Clover Classic Dairy Snack, Balisa, and this has been cooking now for about 20 minutes. So like you said, Chef, you add it in towards the very end. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to stir it in perfectly and make sure that it mellows out those flavors that we spoke about with our Cape Malay curry. It's beautiful. It adds that additional flavor to it, that additional creaminess that we were talking about that every curry needs. But what I want to do is I also want to add that additional dollop that we mentioned, where you can also put it at the very top, Balisa, because it cools down whatever dish that you've made, and it adds that tanginess that you need to basically take your dish to the very top.
I mean, a Clover classic with a timeless taste. To get this recipe, simply head over to afternoonexpress.co.za. Delicious. Now, as we are putting those finishing touches to one of my favorites, we are reaching out to you on social media. Spice is on the menu today, and it is the theme of today's show. So, I want to find out from you, do you add salt before or after tasting your food? Remember to use that hashtag Afternoon Express in all of your comments. Now, coming up, we combine delectable curry flavors with the flavors of the sea as we make hake and green masala curry. Welcome back to Afternoon Express, where we are joined by Olympic chef, Chef Dion. Now, Dion, you are taking us on a flavor route throughout our country, the different provinces, but through curries.
Curries, and more curry. Yeah, it's just curry.
No, a Thai green curry, Dumi. Where would I plot that?
Well, Thailand. I mean, well, but in this instance, we're doing a completely different one, which Chef has actually mentioned. He's a spice king, so he'll actually break it down for us and explain exactly what it is.
Ah, okay, so whether it's chicken, beef, or veg, a curry is a crowd pleaser no matter how you dress it. Now, we are on a flavor journey exploring all things curry, and now we take it to the sea with a delicious hake and green masala curry with our beloved Chef Dion. Now, Chef Dion, we've already touched the Cape Malay chicken curry. Now we're taking it to the sea with our hake green masala curry. So can you talk us through what we need?
Okay, so for your basic masalas, your green masala or your red masala, like you've asked the question about the Thai curry paste, they're completely different. Your Thai paste include about 11 different ingredients.
Wow.
The red or the green or the yellow as well. They have a lot of different flavors in it and complexity levels. And your Indian sort of green and reds paste are literally the holy trinity. Your garlic, ginger, and chili. So it's either your red chili or your green chili, and then the type of chili that increases the heat or sort of tunes it down as well.
I'm going to be on red masala curry duty today, and with that all I need is some red chili, some garlic, some sugar, tomato paste and some ginger. Remember we were talking about, Chef mentioned the Thai curries. If you were to be doing those curries, you'd be adding things like your lemongrass to this, because that would then, lime leaves, stuff like this. This is how basic we're keeping it here with our red curry paste. So I'm on the red side, so whatever you're doing, I'll say stop and watch Afternoon Express. And Chef on the other side is saying green. Let's go and get the recipe on afternoonexpress.co.za, Chef. And what do you need for your green curry?
Okay, so I'm using a pestle mortar, as we call it in from back home. It's a stamper.
Okay.
So what you do is you normally cut your ginger or your more robust or stringier ingredients when you're making your paste into smaller bits, and it goes into your pestle mortar first. So I've got basically just garlic, ginger, green chili and the coriander. That's the only 3 ingredients I'm adding to the green curry paste.
This is such an incredible hack, Mzansi, because right now we're showing you how to create a beautiful green masala paste from scratch with your very own ingredients in your own pantry, in your own home. All you need, ginger, garlic, chili and beautiful coriander. Boom. Done, dusted. Do me on your side. This is the trick to make a red masala curry paste.
Correct. Vanessa, we were using a red masala curry paste in our Cape Malay dish, and this is basically what was used in it. But I just want to give people a trick when it comes to de-seeding your chili. If you are afraid of the heat that comes with chilies and you want to remove the seeds on the inside, all you do is remove the stem at the top, and then this very part here where the seeds are, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Just put it between your palms, and then you'll see the seeds start to drop out. That's all the seeds coming out. That's the heat coming out of your chilies. So that's all you do, and that in essence makes it go from hot to mild, like some of us. Balisa would be perfectly fine with this. Me, on the other hand, I'd have to make sure I get those seeds all out.
I'm like, correct, girl. I love the heat in the kitchen. It keeps my appetite going. It keeps also my... Believe it or not, it really does, I believe, help keep me in shape because, you know, it definitely helps with my metabolism on a daily basis, and also that vitamin C that is found in that chili, not to be forgotten. But I'm on the fish station, the hake station, and I learned the most incredible trick to get your fish from frozen, from the freezer, all the way to being as close to seafood fresh as possible. And this is how you do it. So normally I like to defrost my fish in water. I just kind of plop it in water and hope that over time it defrosts, Chef Dion. But now if I take beautiful milk, today I am using this Clover Fresh milk, and I'm also just going to use this little container here. I'm going to cover the entire thing with milk, and obviously you just eyeball it depending on how much fish you have. You don't want to add too much or too little. It all depends on how much fish you have. I've got my frozen fish right here, and then I kind of lay it in the milk, making sure that all the fish is completely coated in that milk. And then, this comes now the part. You're like, Balisa, where are you going with this? I mean, you've got milk, you've got fish, and understand. This is where the salt comes in. I'm going to take a lovely, huge, I think, a nice palm full of it. Put that in there. So I'm essentially soaking my hake fish cutlets into the milk, and this is essentially how I'm going to defrost my fish. This will get it as close as possible to that sea fresh taste that you'd love to enjoy. But I've already done some for you ahead, Chef.
Because what it does, it's actually like creating a brine with the salt and the milk, and it's kind of firming up the fish as well. Because from frozen, it kind of becomes a bit more watery, waterlogged.
Yeah.
And this kind of takes a lot of that out and firms it up and makes it perfect for sort of rubbing your paste on and roasting it in the oven as well.
Beautiful. And essentially, just as Chef has explained, I'm going to let it sit on a napkin just to absorb the little bit of milk that is retained in it, and then it's going to be ready for our paste.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, Dumi, how's it going on your side?
Going well, Bali. So I've started adding our chilies into this. The whole idea is to make sure that we're trying to get a thick paste consistency. We don't want it to be too runny. But should you make it a little runny, it is okay because you can still reduce it down by cooking it down and making sure it's a thick paste. But what then happens is it intensifies the flavors or whatever it is that you've put in there. So let's just say we made this paste now and it's too watery and I want to cook it down. You can add more ingredients to it. The risk of that, though, is that it becomes too much of a sauce. I mean, too thick, and then it's too intensified with one flavor. All you can do is just cook it down on a low, slow heat, and it basically becomes an intensified flavor. So I'm going to quickly just blitz this up. And that is it. We've got a nice, beautiful, thick consistency. This is the red curry paste that we would have used in our Cape Malay curry. But Chef, you're doing the green curry paste that's going to be going onto our hake.
I also love the fact here that we're going old school and new school. We've got Chef here doing it the old way, grinding it up using a pestle and mortar. And also then we have Toby, the electronic whiz. She just went 1, 2, 3, and it is all blitzed up.
My oma would turn in a grave if she sees me using a blender. I was like 4 years old, sitting on the stoop, and then she would stand with this big sort of pestle mortar or stemper, and then I just sit there on my knees, and she just gooi the chilies in. So I was the one getting the seeds and stuff in my eyes.
I love that. But as we just bring it all together here, as we are continuing to celebrate our curries, for me, how I distinguish the difference between a masala and a curry, for me, curries are just a whole bunch of spices and salt added to a protein or a veg to get that beautiful flavor. However, a masala is when you use a masala paste. That is that difference. Make sure that you use, whether it's green or red masala paste, and turn any curry into a delicious masala. And now we've got some great news. If you want to stand a chance to win this beautiful spice tin, share your favorite curry spices on our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram competition post with the hashtag Afternoon Express. Competition closes at 9 a.m. on Monday, the 26th of July. T's and C's can be found on afternoonexpress.co.za. So essentially, Dumi, these are the spices that people want in their kitchen to create what we're making today.
Exactly, Balisa. All you need is those spices, the recipe on afternoonexpress.co.za, and you're covered.
Now, there's nothing like teasing your taste buds with hot chips covered in a spicy dip. And we're making crispy chips with a red masala dipping sauce when we return. Master SA is back, and this time around it's the baking edition.
It promises to be yet another sensational series of good food and incredible prizes not to be missed for the ultimate winner.
The previous season's winner, Chef Dumi, recently walked away with the Lux Restaurant Award of Rising Star. Her star is indeed shining bright, and you could be next.
So if you are a passionate baker and want to become the next South African baking influencer, then go on to www.thetastemaster.co.za to enter now.
Hurry, because the closing date is the 25th of July. our curry-inspired masterclass. Chef Dion, I think we're doing incredibly.
Oh, yes, we are. More than incredible, I think so.
But Tumi, we have another recipe, ne?
We have another recipe, Balis, and it's got everything that you love.
Absolutely. I mean, winter is a time for friends, family, and getting warm and cozy in great company. Of course, when you do hang out with friends and family, there has to be snacks. And we've got the perfect winter warmer snack that's super delicious and super easy to make. Crispy oven chips with skin on with red masala dipping sauce. Sounding delicious. It's got my favorite as well, these McCain crispy oven incredible potato chips with the skin on.
Well, Balisa, today we actually, because of the range, it's such an amazing range. They've got, yes, the rosemary, garlic and rosemary, but today we're using the sea salt and black pepper one. So what we're going to be doing is myself and Dion are going to be on the masala duty, the masala dipping sauce duty, which requires that masala that we made earlier, and I've got that over here. But then Chef is also going to be frying up and reducing the sauce for us, and then we're serving it with those beautiful chips that you're going to make for us. To start it off, what I need is some dried red chilies, some sugar, some celery, and some water. Chef has got some onions there, some garlic, and some ginger.
We got the mayonnaise and the yogurt to add to it afterwards.
To start off the process, Bali, I need to first make sure that I soak our dried red chilies, because remember I mentioned earlier about soaking any dried ingredient to rehydrate it. So I've got some here that I'm going to add some hot water to. What this does is it just makes it easier to use whatever ingredient that it is you're going to be using. You soak it in for some hot water for about 10 minutes, and this is what you end up getting. It's been rehydrated now, making it easy for me to chop it up, to blend it. But I've got some that I've already blended a little earlier on. But I'm just going to be on celery duty for now. But Balisa, do you want to just show us how to make these chips? I think those are the most important part of this dish.
Yep. I mean, it is really all just about McCain's range of crispy oven chips with the skin on. Today, Dumi says that we are using the salt and sea salt and pepper flavor. But to make it essentially, I'm going to be using this beautiful air fryer. Now, what I love about air fryer is that it's just the convenience of it all. I've made sure that my McCain oven crispy chips are ready from frozen straight into the air fryer. I've set it on 200 degrees and for 12 minutes, and voila, it should be easy to go. Now, you can put it in for 12 minutes to 15 minutes, is up to you, but it's just a quick and easy family treat that is both nutritious and convenient.
Definitely, Balisa. And the one thing I do absolutely love, especially in this economy right now, is that McCain uses locally sourced potatoes, Balisa, making sure that they are frozen at their freshest, making sure they lock in all that freshness, all that quality, and all those nutrients you definitely need in your potatoes.
Now, Chef, I can only imagine, today again, we've spoken about the different flavors, but if you were to add like a Texas barbecue flavor from these McCain crispy oven chips, how would that then elevate the flavor, especially with that red masala paste?
I think it'll work really well because of the smokiness from the barbecue with the spiciness of the red masala could balance really nice with the potato.
Nah, me. Dumi, I'm so obsessed with the Philips Rapid Air technology. With its unique starfish design, it swirls that hot air around to create delicious foods that are crispy on the outside and tender on the inside with little to no added oil. Essentially, your food will cook 1.5 times faster than in the oven. And best of all, you don't have to preheat it. You just turn it on and it starts cooking. As we get back to the pots though, Chef, how's it going on your side?
It's going well. Yeah, I'm just sweating off the onions, the garlic and the ginger, and then we're going to add the celery in now, and then those dried chilies. So we're on a good pace.
Good pace.
Perfect. Awesome, Chef. Here's your celery. And what we've done is that those dried and rehydrated red chilies, here we've got them, we've blended them up just to make sure that they're easier to use, because like we said, we're making a masala dip. So we want it to basically work well with the rest of the ingredients we've got there, the mayo and the yogurt. So to make sure that it's a beautifully thick and delicious dip that goes well with that sea salt flavor that we're using today with our fries.
What I also love about this is we are in lockdown level 4, restricted lockdown, and a lot of people right now are relying on takeaways. But if, you know, the economy isn't quite good, so sometimes our pockets don't agree with no takeaways. So this is what I love about this recipe. It's almost taking the takeaway kind of spirit, that restaurant energy, bringing it all the way into your kitchen for you to enjoy something crispy, something fresh, but something oh so potato-y at home as well. And coupled with that dipping sauce, I can only imagine that it's also a crowd pleaser, an entertainer's delight.
Definitely, Balisa. And the one thing I also have noticed here, and I'm not sure if South Africa see. Chef is so into this recipe today. I don't know if it's because we're talking about the masalas and the curries, but he is in there doing exactly what chefs need to be doing, and this is what we want people to do. We want people to go into afternoonexpress.co.za, get these recipes, get busy, get involved, you know, get as creative as they can, and then maybe they can be as focused as chef is right now on those parts.
And then, Chef, when would we put the rest of these ingredients in?
Okay, right. So we're just going to allow the onion, celery, garlic, and ginger to cool down, and then we'll fold in the yogurt and the mayonnaise through it. And then your dip is done, basically.
Perfect. And that's it. Simple, easy. You can actually add it in there right now, because what happens is the cold ingredients from the mayo and the yogurt cools it down, because some people want it hot, some people want it cold, so you can actually do that. And that is our dipping sauce, perfect for our McCain sea salt and pepper fries.
To get your hands on this delicious recipe, visit afternoonexpress.co.za. To help you create delicious winter warmers of your own, we're giving away a Philips Essential XL Connected Air Fryer and Baking Master Kits with a year's worth of McCain potato products to the value of 6,898 Rand. To stand a chance to win, simply reply to the competition post on the Afternoon Express Facebook or Twitter page and tell us which McCain potato products can you not live without. Remember to include the hashtag Made with McCain and the hashtag Philips Air Fryer. The competition closes at noon on the 2nd of August. Enter now. T's and C's can be found on afternoonexpress.co.za. Always a crowd pleaser. Treat your family to McCain skin-on crispy oven chips or rosemary and garlic sweet potato fries. Both nutritious and convenient. Dumi, we've got one more recipe left. So as I do dish up these delicious chips, what are we cooking?
Balisa, we're going to finish it off with a delicious beef curry, Balisa. I mean, we can't be talking curries and not touching on the beef curry. That is a staple, and we need to show our viewers exactly how to make that.
Looking forward to all of that. Welcome back to the show. Now, Chef, we've got one final recipe to go.
We're making the beef curry.
Love that. Now, today it's all about the classic curries, and our next curry to inspire your taste buds and pots is one that is particularly classic. Classic beef stew, or curry rather, but I do love a good stew curry. So this is when that conversation comes in then, Dumi. What then would elevate this to make it a stew? Would I just add more vegetables?
Well, not necessarily, Palisa. Like Chef said, it's mostly about that base of the spices in essence that might take it a different direction, you know. Yes, you can add more vegetables, because that's one thing I actually have noticed when it comes to stews and curries. You've got the carrots and the peas and the stuff going into a stew, but they wouldn't necessarily all the time go into a curry. So it depends on who's making it, because some aunties are on some, no, I don't want no veggies. Other, like our moms, and they will be like, you better make sure you put those veggies in there. But to start it all off as the base here, we've got our beef. I'm going to be making the rice, Chef. I'm going to ask you to help me make this rice the right way, because there's normally right ways to make rice, but I'm making basmati rice.
Yes, okay, cool. So with the rice, very importantly, you need to soak your rice, because it's a dry product. So you just want to rehydrate it for about 1 hour minimum, and try not to leave it for too long because it over soaks as well.
Okay.
And then the washing of your rice is the most important thing. You want to wash it until the water runs clear, because it takes away the excess starch that's not wanted when cooking it. But also depending on the type of rice, because some rices like sushi rice, you want a lot of the starch around, or jasmine, for example.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to go quickly wash this rice, and you can get started with the curry part of our beef curry today.
So we got the beef over here, which we're going to marinate first with our cumin, coriander ground.
And those are just the typical aromatics and typical spices that
Base
one can
spices,
find.
yes.
Yeah, the base spices.
Your turmeric ground. And then we have some of that red curry paste that we made earlier on. Again, according to your heat levels, we'll make it quite strong because we're all about curry today.
I also like the fact that if you've paid attention that we have used this base curry paste in basically everything. So if you can get that right, the sky's the limit.
So I added the garlic grated in there as well. You just want to sort of mix this up and marinate it for about an hour or overnight if you can. It sort of softens up the meat as well. We have some that we've got over here from earlier on.
Okay.
And then we want to add some of the butter spread in here to me.
All right, so you would like us to use our Clover Classic fat spread. This goes perfectly with this dish, Balesa, because it's perfect for spreading, perfect for baking. In this instance, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be using it as the base for our curry now. Chef, you're going to be searing or frying up your onions in it.
And all of the dry spices.
So, Chef, as Utomi did put that Clover Classic fat spread onto the pot was already hot. You made sure that it is super, super hot so that the flames, they're just on contact.
So I also want to melt the spread as well and sort of get it to like a runny consistency to sort of start sweating the onions as well. Okay. And then I've got my hard spices like I did with the other curry as well. So always the braising of your whole spices goes in the beginning with your onions.
Right. I'm tracking with you. I'm going through slowly. If I do want to add in some of the spices that are completely grounded up, you add that to the protein. Like today, you added it to the beef, letting that marinate, letting that sit. But for some of the harder spices, the whole spices that Chef used, he put that in almost in the beginning of his cooking process as he is sweating out those onions. Utomi's already put in the Clover Classic fat spread, made sure that the onions are completely sweated down, hard spices in, making sure that it's all about the aromatics here to get it right. Now, Chef, another conversation that we can have along with the curries when it comes to the different curries. I know there's butter chicken, is it koma?
There's
Tandoori,
so many
Acne. Talk me through it.
So the thing is, in South Africa, we've generalized the term curry, and we use curry for various different types of curries that you get. And in India, it's more sort of specific. So there's no general term, or you wouldn't go to India and find something called curry.
Okay.
Like, literally. So what you're going to find is your lamb korma, your masalas, your tikka masalas, your various names for the different curries. And they're quite intricate because all of them have actual traditional Indian names.
Wow.
So the kade, like it's peppers, for example, or aloo is potato. So it makes it a bit complicating, but it's just the actual term for it.
And another thing that we do see repeated in so many of these ingredients Yes, we do have our spread of spices here, but these spices, Chef, are not only good for curries. Each spice also has very different kinds of benefits. Now, Chef, do you want to speak?
There's a lot of health benefits to most of them, I guess, or actually all of them, right? Fenugreek, one of my favorite spices.
And that's this one here.
I love using them in pickles, and it's interesting tip is it's good for pregnant women because it sort of boosts the production of milk.
Oh, wow. A lot of people, whether it is weight loss, whether it is gaining muscle, whether it is just being a foodie and wanting to get the absolute best taste. I love the fact that you also mentioned for pregnant women, making sure that that milk production is on and popping. This is the one that you like to use. So how can we include this in different recipes?
So this is used in, it's your general pickling spices. So your cumin, your coriander seeds, your fenugreek, your carom seeds, and coriander seeds. Those are all used in pickling spices. It's your main acha masala spices, or in various types of pickles it's used. And in some vegetable curries, it's sort of tempered in the beginning process in the oil, so it like releases less of its bitterness and creates a sort of like amped flavor, like umami flavor for your vegetables.
Love that. Okay, I hope you're tracking with us. I certainly am. But Chef has detailed all of this quite clearly and thoroughly on the Afternoon Express website, and you can just head over there to get the full ingredients list and recipe. Now, I can only imagine how you can add different other nuts, maybe almonds, cashews, into different curries, all this recipe.
Definitely, Balisa, and also into the rice as well. I know a lot of people like to forget that the rice can't be flavored. You could definitely do stuff like that.
Yes.
I've noticed that some people have add some cinnamon to their rice, and star anise, stuff like that. You can cook your rice with those aromatics as well, so it elevates the flavor of the rice itself. But luckily today we're using basmati rice, which in itself has its own nuttiness and flavor, so it pairs perfectly with this beef curry we're making today.
Chef, what did you just pop in the pot?
Okay, so what I added in, like also closer to the end, I added some of the coconut milk, and then I added some of the yogurt, and then the actual
Almond flour.
almond flour, yes. Indeed.
Oh, almond flour, just to help thicken up that batter. I also love the fact that almond flour here is good for those that are gluten-free, those that are trying to cut down on the carbs. So yummy, so delicious. Now, to get this recipe, as I've already mentioned, just head over to our website, and Udumi and Chef Dion have detailed it quite beautifully how to make this delicious beef curry.
So, we've had classic fashion from Timby, classic cars, thanks Chad, and we've seen classic hairstyles. And you, Michael? Classic.
A classic range from Clover. Timeless taste. Made with love by Clover.
We love making winners on our show, and we are about to make another lucky viewer's day. Courtesy of Olive Pride Chef Tour, Jean-Paul Sebastian Juster is another lucky winner to walk away with a premium Weber gas bride. Congratulations, JP. Now, we hope that you love every single fire that you'll light up on that beauty. And to everyone else who has entered the Olive Pride competition, the next time you hear from me, I'll be announcing who has won the Dream Kitchen Makeover worth 150,000 Rand. You never know, it might just be you.
Our pharmacies are on the front line of healthcare. This is Pharmacy of the Week.
My dad is a pharmacist, and as a young child I learned from him how to respect others and how to help them in their needs, how to treat them and give them good health advice. I think what it means to me is to add value to their lives, to give them health tips, how to stay healthy, and to help manage their chronic diseases. So I love people. I love to interact with them. I like to see how they feel, what's their needs. I mean, you can immediately pick up the way the person addresses himself, how he feels. Serving is almost like a sacrifice that you put the client's needs before your own.
Pharmacy of the Week, proudly brought to you by Adcock Ingram OTC, sponsors of Brave.
welcome back to our masterclass. Now, Chef Dion, you have made beauties in front of me, which I'm so looking forward to eating.
Oh, yes, we've made the chips with the masala dip, the red masala dip, Cape Malay chicken curry. We've got the beef curry over there, some basmati rice, which you made pretty perfect, well done. And then the green masala roasted fish, which is quite phenomenal. I sneaked a taste early on.
The truth comes out. But indeed, we really have cooked up a storm in the kitchen. And now it's time for us to enjoy the fruits of our labor by indulging in all the delicious classic curries that we've made. So let's get eating. I'm going to already start with my fave. Everyone knows the McCain potato chips.
I'll finish off where I started earlier.
Lumi, what are you most looking forward to trying? Yes.
I'm actually looking forward to trying the beef curry palisa. The spices and the flavors there look absolutely amazing. But as you know me, I love me some food. So everything that we've made here is what I want to try. So I'm going to have a little bit of everything.
And for yourself, Chef Dion, I can see you
I think I'm going on the same sort of notion. Let's get a bit of everything in there. It's curry.
It is. And on that
It's
note,
be sacrilege to not have everything.
let me pass my plate to you so you can also dish up some delicious curries for me. I've already gone in with that red masala paste, that little dipping sauce for my chips. And Chef is, add more chicken, Chef, add more chicken. Oh, Chef, we are nice. And on that same note, on social media, we wanted to find out from all of our viewers, what would you like? Keep dishing, Chef.
Oh, God. Let's give us some of this.
We were wanting to find out from all of our viewers, what do you normally add first or last? Do you add your salt in first when you're cooking, or do you normally add it last?
Oh, wow, that's a very interesting question. I normally salt throughout the process. So in the beginning, when my onions and hard spices are there, I add a bit of salt in there in the middle process and at the end as well. Because the thing is, salt sort of like dilutes the curry or stew or whatever soup you're cooking, and then it doesn't reflect the true sort of seasonings of it if you just taste at the end. So it's throughout the entire process.
Okay, so Chef says C, none of the above. He says you just keep it going. Do you agree? And how important is it depending on what you're preparing?
It actually, that is something very important to mention, Palisa, because if I was to be making something like a steak, and I think I've mentioned this before, that if I'm making a steak, I like to season it afterwards, you know, because you want to make sure you maintain that moisture of it. But if I'm making stuff like stews and curries and stuff like that, you want to, in essence, like Chef is saying, balance the flavor. So as you're making the stuff throughout, you want the flavors of whatever you're making to pop, and that's what the salt helps with. But in essence, I like my friend, she takes the food, adds the salt, and then tastes it. I'd like to think for people, taste your food first before you add the salt.
It's an insult to the chef as well if you season it before you've tasted it.
Before, it's like those people who just put tomato sauce on everything before you even taste it. Stop that, don't do that.
Unfriend.
And you know, you unfriend that person immediately. But I have to agree, I do exactly the same. And having to taste today's dishes, which is exactly what we did. We kept that salt going throughout, and this is delicious. I've tasted the beef stew. The beef is succulent. It is so easy just to bite through and get through. Sometimes you get those pieces of meat stuck in your teeth. This is not the case when it comes to our beef. We've made sure that it's cooked to perfection. And also, I do love the difference in flavor, because now I'm moving on to the chicken. And that classic chicken Malay flavor is popping. Dumi.
I just tried it as well, Palisa, and the tanginess and the zinginess of the apricot that we added to there takes it. It's like two different dishes that are like so different but so delicious and so similar in that they're curries, but they just flavor profile is completely different, Vale.
And Chef, on your side, you loved the hake. You said you started with the hake. Is the hake coming through?
Oh, it's definitely coming through. The green curry paste is so predominant. It's fresh, it's vibey, it's uplifting the fish, and that salt and milk that you've added to the defrosting process. It's flaky, it's firm, it's beautiful.
Oh, well, pat on everyone's back, because I think we've nailed it. But let's put your curry knowledge to the test. Now, I believe this is a bit of a difficult one, but it depends how much you know about your curries. And the question goes a little like this. I do love my quiz, so let's hope you get this right. When was the first curry recipe published in English? Was it A, 1677? Was it B, 1700? Or was it C, 1747?
Wow, I'm stumped, to be honest.
So it could be A, 1677. It could be B, in the 1700s, or C, 1749.
I'll say 1749. 1747. I'll stick with that because
I would say the same because it's too early to be in the 60s.
Exactly. You know, process of elimination, I thought of it exactly the same. Just, you know, the later, the better for it to be published in English. And that was the trick. But again, if you do want all in on all the spicy goodness, please make sure that you do enter our competition that we are running. We're giving away an entire tin of delicious spices that Tumi is holding there tight. Just head over to our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram pages and let us know what is your favorite spice. Now, we are sure to curry flavor with these incredible dishes made on today's show. We've got even more for you, though, on Thursday, as Chef Dion does join us. So please do tune in at 5:30 p.m. But until then, Mzansi, good night, stay safe, and happy eating.
Ciao.
Say it with steaming hot breakfasts, soul food Sundays, and slow-cooked dinners that'll warm any winter. Made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.